Hello, we're here in Penang, Malaysia with Blake Ratner, the Research Director for WorldFish. In this live Periscope chat, he'll be answering questions about social protection and agriculture, which is the theme of this year's World Food Day. Blake, can you tell us a bit about what WorldFish is doing to support social protection for small-scale farmers?
Well, WorldFish, as you know, is part of the CGIAR, the largest network of scientists working on global food security issues. And our focus is on fisheries and aquaculture. And so that means that while some of our partner research centers like the International Food Policy Research Institute might work more directly on formal programs around social protection, what we do is try to find ways beyond, for example, government insurance to work with those who are most in need. So that includes things like finding ways to reduce the risks that rural communities face, whether that's from natural disasters or from social and economic crises, through improvements in technology and livelihoods. We work to improve nutrition. We work to improve the equity that women face in seeking livelihood opportunities. And these are different ways to be able to reduce risk for those who are most in need.
Women and men face different challenges specific to their gender. How can we ensure that social protection programs are designed and implemented in a way that addresses these gender constraints?
Sure. What we've found is the issues of gender inequalities really vary depending on the country and the cultural context that we're working in. So the first issue is to look deeply to try to understand what are the specific constraints that women face, whether that's in seeking access to technology, in accessing formal jobs, and to try to understand not only what are the formal constraints, but also some of the informal and often the more difficult cultural and institutional constraints. So in some cases there are legal barriers, and we work to address those. For example, women's access to land or to water bodies like ponds in which to undertake fish farming. In other cases, the constraints are more difficult. For example, situations in which we've been involved in gathering together communities to work on identifying solutions to local livelihood problems. And for example, I was working with a group in Uganda, and what we found is that in gathering together the whole community, oftentimes women in this particular village on the shores of Lake Victoria were much less ready to come forward and voice their concerns and their priorities. So while men were perhaps more interested in talking about the problems of fisheries management out on the lake, women were, in this case, much more interested in talking about the more immediate concerns of sanitation, hygiene, and the impact that had on the health of their children. And so what we did is we adopted our efforts to assist to be able to work on those issues that were their first priorities. And in that way, there were gains made, not only in reducing the incidence of childhood disease, diarrhea in this case, but also over the longer term, building up the community institutions that can also address these broader natural resource management challenges.
Are there linkages between social protection and nutrition? In what ways can we deliver social protection mechanisms that protect low-income and nutritionally vulnerable groups?
There are definitely a lot of linkages because the nutritional deficiencies that we see are problems that, if they're not addressed early, become lifelong challenges and even disabilities. And so the efforts that we're making, for example, because of the very high nutritional content of fish, and particularly the small, the affordable fish in places like Bangladesh and Malawi, where we work, that these are some of the most valuable, actually, in terms of the nutritional benefits, the micronutrients and minerals that they offer. So what we've found is that our research has shown, for example, that in many households, that women are choosing to give fish to the men or to the boys rather than to the young girls or even to infants and toddlers who can most benefit from that nutritional content. So we've been working on these issues of what we call intra-household distribution, allocation of fish in the diet. And we've also been working on developing technologies, for example, special blends of ground fish along with particular vegetables that offer a balanced diet and can be fed even to infants. And so it's in that window of the first 1,000 days of life that these sorts of changes can make the most difference.
Thank you, Blake. That's all for today. We hope you will continue the conversation about social protection and agriculture with us online. Goodbye.
All right. Thanks very much.